Hey everybody, I'm Psychosaurus and welcome back to Age of Empires Online. Today I'm gonna go through my Norse gear and someone's been requesting it a lot lately. Yeah, I'm looking at you, Viking. Yeah, you know it. Okay, we're gonna go through my Norse gear, and before I start, again, just like I did in my Greek gear, if you haven't seen that one, check it there. And I'm just gonna go through every unit, but not buildings. Buildings are rather like more of a common theme, since for me it's pretty much the same thing for any other civ. So yeah, let's get started. So number one, and it's a villager. Okay, so I have Hammer of Kaveh, Tunic of the Collector, and Plato's 2 selection. And what a name! So Hammer of Kaveh, personally, it's my most favorite with tool right now. Oh boy, I like it more than the other two tools, especially on Norse, since you can use your infantry to build buildings instead of your villagers. So the building construction speed is not that necessary, right? You could still argue that like the DD in Arkenhammer is better for that. If you like that one, hey, go ahead, grab that one. It's your choice. I personally prefer Hammer of Kavek because I still sometimes build with my villagers since it's faster than with the infantry sometimes. And sometimes my infantry is busy fighting, so for me, Hammer of Kavek is the choice. Doing of the Collector, well, as Norse you probably focusing on your infantry or your cavalry in case you're using Finolfer. So you're gonna need a lot of food, so Tunic of the Collector is the obvious choice here. And Patos 2 selection, I'm using this one mainly for the training time. I wanna get my villagers out as soon as possible. That's pretty much it. Like get them out as soon as possible. I wonder how many materials do I have right now? Maybe I should grab Nebuchadnezzar soon again. Yeah, I want the Nebuchadnezzar's blessed wine. I think it's called, which gives much better training time, and it's the legendary crafter, so it costs a lot of materials to craft. But yeah, it's the best for training time, so definitely worth getting on villagers like the Norse ones. Okay, fishing boats. For me, it's Nets of the Argo. I have random arrows. Don't even look at these. Artificers, iron plating, and ores of. Yeah, this is stupid name. Hot ship suit. So basically, Nets of the Argo offer the best gathering rate plus adding some little movement speed. Obviously, personally, I don't really care about my nets because how often do I actually use the fishing boats, right? It's pretty rare, and even on the water maps, you don't see me that using them that often, since you rather need wood and build your ships than like caring about the what's with this caravan. Yeah, rather than on water maps, you care about the wood than food, and even then, you still would rather focus on the farms than just fishing. So yeah, for me, it's rather the Nets of the Argo. Personally, I like this one, especially on the Norse and also on the Greeks and Egyptians. And I was thinking about it like lately. These three civs get the third fishing boats upgrade, and that means the highest carry capacity they can get. And with this, I don't really care about the movement speed since they won't be traveling that often. So for me, it's rather the speed, but adding the little movement speed is also nice. I have some random arrows, but once I deal with the Valley of Kings, I'm definitely putting the Setred's arrows for cheaper cost here. I think the cheaper cost is better, but if you don't want Setred's arrows, then there are level 30 epic arrows for movement speed, and well, I would have to build Moe here and start looking for start getting those level 30 chests, and that might take a while. Don't want to sit here and just buying chests. Okay, other fishers aren't plating. I mean, what else are you gonna get on your fishing boats? The best movement speed you can get. I don't think there's anything better than this, so go for the highest movement speed. Also the hardship suit, again the highest movement speed. Sometimes the long distance fishing happens, so why not just grab the movement speed, okay? If you don't want the movement speed, then just make them cheap. Like I think the what's it called right now, the legendary one, the Hull of Kufur, I think it's called. The one that lowers the cost, health and damage. Just pretty much make your fishing boats cheaper. I still prefer the movement speed for the long distance, just in case it happens. Okay, caravans. I have the Merchant Loch of the Nile, Ropes of Menace, and the Zahak's Amulet of the Undying. Well, basically, just improve my caravan. So, Merchant Loch of the Nile. I think this is actually the best merchant gear you can get right now. It offers really great trade, especially if you can max it out. Adding some movement speed, obviously that helps. The sooner you get the gold, the better. I have Ropes of Menace. There's also better cloth armor at level 10, and personally I was not lucky yet to get it from where when I actually tried only one time and then I just never looked at it. For me it's easier just grab the Ropes of Menace, and also I prefer the health just in case some random units just start attacking my caravans. So keeping them alive for me is pretty good. It should not be happening, but it happens, okay? It happens. Sometimes that stuff just happens. So personally I prefer the Ropes of Menace, just trying to keep my caravans alive. And the movement speed, like, difference, okay. I think it's like 2%. It's already something. I don't really care about it that much. And I have the Zach's Amulet of the Undying, again trying to keep them alive while also giving them some nice movement speed. If you want the best movement speed, which is like the only thing you wanna put on your caravans, otherwise pretty much. So you should grab the Dillian Hood, which gives the highest movement speed of 7%, I think. I think it's like 7.4, which is the biggest you can get. Is there anything better? I don't think so. I don't think there's anything better, unless you want to get your caravans out sooner or make them cheaper. I guess that could also work. I think it's just better to make them more effective, since later you'll just get a lot of resources anyway. Okay, merchant transport. So what do I have here? Nectar filled water barrel, pretty much just the epic version of the Merchant Loch of the Nile. Some random arrows, artificial iron plating, and also hardship suit. Basically, I'm trying to maximize the trade here. For me, the Norse merchant transport is actually different, and it's worth getting only for the trade. And for transporting, I prefer using the longships, the Norse arrow ships, since you can transport with them. They are already faster than the merchant transport, so I don't see a reason like using the merchant transport for that. And yeah, I need to replace the arrows. This is where I want the movement speed, definitely. Just get the gold as soon as possible. So yeah, I have the merchant transports optimized for the trade mainly, and for transports I use the longships. Okay, next one. And this is like the Norse 2 scouts. Okay, let's put them together. So the melee one has the Theas Exalted Xiphos? Yeah, it's such a West of Theseus and Mounted Noose Pole. And for the second scout I have the Urs All-Seeing Bow, Xerxes Xerxes' Sun Blotting Arrows. Okay, I said it somehow. Amulet's West of Foresight, and the new summer event. The summer event is still out, okay, guys. Go grab your go grab your items while you still can. So the sets, Sash of the Solstice, and in case I want to replace, I have Lens of Madness. So basically, one scout, I like to use it against the huntables and like kill some huntables. So that's why I have the damage sword. Although I think I could grab something better than this. And I have the mounted noose pole, so I use the melee scout mainly against the huntables. And the West of Theseus helps the scout survive longer since it offers the melee infantry armor and the huntables deal melee infantry damage. So this one helps him survive while also doing a lot of damage to the huntables. So I use him primarily for the hunting, and the range scout is mainly for scouting since you, unlike the melee scout, you have bow and the arrows, which together offers much higher line of sight than you can get with just a sword. So that's why all combined I have really huge line of sight on my range scout. And yeah, I think it's just better to put the line of sight on him. Unless you want to try something different, yeah, you can try swapping it somehow and like make this range scout the hunting one and the melee scout scouting one. I think this way it's much better. And the sword definitely can be replaced for like higher damage just to make it even better. Or you could just get the sword with movement speed and infantry armor. What's it called? I got it here. Yeah, the Hermes Suit Stained Sword, which gives movement speed and pretty huge infantry armor. So again, they can survive longer. Yeah, I think that's all for the scouts. So Skirmisher. Okay, personally, for me, Skirmisher is pretty damn weak unit. I went to the scenario editor and I made a fight between a villager and the skirmisher. And oh boy, what I thought that would happen, it actually happened. The skirmisher lost. That's how bad it is. It loses to villager. Nah, probably if I had like more of them, then it could be a different story. But other than that, I don't think skirmisher can win that easily. For me, skirmisher is only anti-range unit, so that's why I'm trying to like gear it that way. So I have the Javelin of Sinuhe, which helps Skirmisher deal as much damage as possible to the ranged units, adding the ranged bonus damage. Then I have Shield of Rostam, although I would rather replace it for the Ajax Shield, since that one offers the great pierce armor, and personally I like it on Skirmisher, and it would help them like with the anti-range team. Give them the pierce armor, survive the pierce damage better, and then also having the high bonus against them. I would prefer the Ajax, but for now I'm using the Shield of Rostam for high damage, so again doing a lot of damage. Then I have the Emperor's Finest Robe, which gives the pierce armor and bonus damage protection. I want to replace this with the Set's Best Vest, since that one offers higher pierce armor and even better health. I know there's cloth armor that offers better pierce armor, but I just don't want to heavily rely only on pierce armor. So for me, Set's Best Vest is like the better option for this. And I personally don't really care about the bonus damage protection, since Skirmisher for me is just about countering the ranged units. And then I have Biorix's Finest Gauntlets, which lower the cost of the unit. If you have ever seen the cost of this unit, I mean, for how low the damage is, I think the cost is damn high. I mean, seriously, a single unit costs 45 units of wood and 5 pieces of gold. 45 units of wood, that's a lot. That's a lot. And imagine I would put like Ramses on these guys, increasing it by 20%. for a little damage. Health, that pretty much does not even exist. Like, let's take a look at this guy. 110 health. Okay, it's not the worst health. Like, that's pretty good. But the pierce damage of basic pierce damage, 5 DPS. That's so low. And you would pay like over 50 units just to increase it by 10%? No thank you. No thank you. So for me, I prefer lowering their cost, and like I said, I like to use them as anti-ranged unit, and I think they are really great against ranged units if you can use them properly, and hopefully they won't die. Personally, I kinda like them against the elephant camps just to focus on the elephant archers. They actually do a lot of damage to them, but other than that, they're bad. They're bad. Don't use skirmishers. Seriously, use them only as counter. Don't use them as your main army. No way. No way. Don't even think about it. It's the worst idea, believe me. Use them as the counter. That's why I got them. Like with the Javelin of Sinew. Use them against ranged units. And with Biotics, they don't cost me that much. And personally, I don't even want to put the Ramses there. Like 20%, that's just a lot of wood all of a sudden. If I would want something else, I would probably go with just the Legion's Greaves, which just gives pure health, and that would be it. Like nothing else. Maybe movement speed, but that's about it. I think Viking also thought about like using the Summer Shield for these guys. I guess that can be okay if you want the movement speed. But other than that, it's your choice. It's your choice. I don't really think it's for them. I would rather have the Ajax for the Pierce Armor. Okay, let's move on. Hardjar. So I have the Axe of the Ice King, Ares War Shield, Breastplate of Gilgamesh, and the Ramses. And personally, I like these guys as a tank unit since they naturally have so high infantry armor. It's insane actually. I think that this unit actually has naturally the highest infantry armor if you include the champion upgrade as well. The other highest is the Celtic champion, which naturally has 0.5 infantry armor. These guys start with 0.3 and then they get 50% from the champion. Okay, that's a lot actually. That's quite a lot. So I prefer them tanky as much as possible. That's why I got the Axe of the Ice King for the highest health. And I could also like swap it for the Champion's Axe, which I have right here, which gives better damage but trades the health for the melee infantry armor. So it would rather be better focus on against the infantry, and but it would make it worse like against everything else. And as we all know, we're not fighting only infantry, so I personally like the health more. Also, combined with the Norse chief, the health increase is, in my opinion, much better than just the armor. Although armor health together obviously works really nicely. Ares War Shield, well, I would love to replace it for King Minos' Radiant Shield, which I don't have, and I found out that you can get it only through Skirmish. I don't want to play a lot of Skirmish. Basically, it's a health and huge infantry armor on a shield. I mean, if you know about the Kukulain's shield, which is craftable, and that one gives health and huge cavalry armor, then the King Minos Radiant Shield is pretty much equivalent to this, but to this one, but instead of cavalry armor, it's infantry armor. Pretty huge, like 20% infantry armor, and like I think it's like 9-10% health. So that would help like a lot to the defensive thing. Then I have the Gilgamesh again, trying to help with the anti infantry armor thing, and then also Ramses. I think they still have pretty good damage actually. Personally, I find this unit quite strong, just because it gets axe and shield. I mean, typically units with shields have swords, and we all know that swords naturally give less stats than axes. So for me, combined axe and shield together, I mean, you get just additional stats like that. I find it kind of broken on these units. Luckily, they are not that strong. So, oh boy, if these guys were super strong, God, I would know why. Let's move on. Berserker. So I got the Axe of the Ice King. I got Tunic of Actaeon and Ramses. Yeah, pretty much the Berserker is the typical late game unit for the PvE players. Yeah, and like everyone likes them. I personally like them as well. Like the splash definitely helps. So why I have the Axe of the Ice King? I like to make them more tankier than like normal player. Normal player just goes full damage, which I see why. Like full damage, they have naturally high damage. Plus the splash. The splash area is 2, okay? So they hit a lot of units, so adding more damage is definitely great. I personally like them more tanky because I can then combine them with the chief. If only I was doing that. And all of a sudden they are much tankier. I don't have to replace them that often, and that kind of makes it easier for me since I won't have to get that many caravans, and I can save some space and add few little more berserkers. Tunic of Actaeon is probably the best cloth armor you can get on units like Berserker, like the units that are at the front taking a lot of damage. Since the bonus damage protection helps, especially during the legendary quest, since every enemy unit, well, almost every legendary quest, every enemy unit gets a bonus versus, well, all the basic stuff, infantry, ranged units, cavalry buildings. So adding bonus damage protection on your infantry is actually pretty huge, and definitely helps even more against units that counter your units. So for berserkers, it could be like, I don't know, like the enemy Bowman. It could be, I don't know, lancers, hippospis, and such units, obviously. And obviously for late game and making berserker even stronger, the Ramses, just to make them as strong as possible. Okay, Wolfhead. Okay, what do I have here? Light Spear of Rostam, Tunic of Actaeon, and I have Medal of Lycurgus. I've been using the Wolfhead mainly against the boss priests, so that's why I got the medals. So basically, trying to do as high damage as possible. These guys, well, personally, I don't like them that much. Like, they feel a little bit weird to me. For me, I see them as like the high damage unit, and with the Tunic of Actaeon, I'm always hoping they would survive some damage. I don't know. I never found them like that useful. I've been trying them, but never felt good to me that this unit. So obviously, if I wanted to use them, I would use instead of the medals. I would use the Ramses. But for now, I'm using them as the anti-priest, boss priest, anti-boss priest for. So that's why I got the medals and just do as much damage as possible while staying on my side and not get converted. I don't know. I seriously don't like this unit, and I've been trying it a few times. Even with Vemonder, I don't like it. I think it can be useful, but I don't find it that useful. Okay, Chief, and this one I should change actually. So I have the double-edged axe. I have Breastplate of Gilgamesh and Ramses. And personally, I have no idea why I have it like this. I think it was just I had some gear and I just put it here. Uh, well, Chief is pretty strong unit, so I don't think it's completely bad. And oh boy, when I saw the crit animation, that was actually beautiful. So, yeah, basically do high damage, try to survive for as long as possible, and just upgrade. If I had to change it, and I would prefer some changes, so instead of the double edged, I would use the Axe of the Ice King just to make them tougher. Or tougher to kill. I will think it's better just keep the chief alive for as long as possible. You don't really want him to fight, like yeah, he does a lot of damage, but you want to keep him alive, and that's pretty much what I think about it. Like the unit has to stay alive, so it keeps buffing your units with additional health, making your units tougher to kill. So personally, I want to replace the axe. I don't even know why breastplate of Gilgamesh. It kind of makes sense, but I would prefer like the Delian Archon's armor for better health. I think that would be better than just having smaller health pool and just having some infantry armor. I guess infantry armor works as well, but I think I should change it. And Ramses obviously just to buff him up. I think it could be even replaced with the Ice King's Greaves for even higher health, which I have somewhere here, right there, like almost 30%. 30% health plus movement speed, like I think that would be better. But still, this unit still has pretty high damage, so I think it's not completely wrong how I have it. It's just how I feel that I would rather have it. Okay, let's move on. Bowman. So what do I have here? Recurve Bow of Theseus, which is damage and bonus versus infantry. Arrows of Darkness. Divine High Vizier's Ropes. And Ramses. So basically I have it specialized against infantry. Well, let's be honest, as Norse I don't train ranged units that often because most of the things your infantry can do, like instead of Bowman I can go with just the throwing Axeman, but I think adding few Bowman can be also interesting. But well, training multiple units is kinda difficult in PvE. You rather focus on the one unit spam. Nah, I think adding few Bowman can be good, but like why? That's my question. Why? Like what can I counter with the Bowman better than with my infantry? Like basically you're going against infantry. What are you gonna get? You're gonna go like hard jars or berserkers. Like depends how you're doing. So hard jars like they can soak a lot of damage. They also do nice damage against infantry. You add in some throwing Axeman. They do a lot of damage against enemy infantry. They also ignore infantry armor, so do a lot of damage to the infantry. So why even bothering with them? And obviously I forgot about berserkers. If there's a lot of them, berserkers just will just splash damage. So why even bothering with Bowman? That's what I mean. Like I can't think of like many units where I would prefer the Bowman, and probably the only unit that comes to my mind right now would be like the Celtic Champion, which has pretty huge infantry armor. But I think the from Axeman counters the champion pretty well when you give it the champion upgrade, obviously. So for me, Bowman is like, why even bother? Like the snare is, I guess the snare from champion upgrade can be good. But yeah, just in case I have it specialized against infantry, so if I need something or if I need like the additional range, then I guess Bowman would be better option. Let's move on. So we have Raider, and this one I'm focusing mainly on damage. So I have the Sesos curved Kopesh, the one you can purchase in Rakotis. I have Shield of Rostam, Garhasp, Golden Gorget, and Ramses. So basically, I'm trying to focus the Raider on as much damage as possible. For me, it's like it's a unit similar to like Greek Hippicon, so trying to like maximize my damage as much as possible. But I have to remember it's much well, it's not as tough as Hippicon. Like Hippicon is like this late game heavy unit. This is like the early game light unit. I mean, it does not have like the high damage as Hippicon. It does not have the health like Hippicon. But what it has is very high speed. I mean, Raider is I think it's the fastest unit actually in the game. I don't think there's anything faster. Maybe like Greek Prodromos. Prodromos is pretty fast. I would have to check it to be sure, but I know Raider is one of the fastest, at least. And you can have a lot of Raiders. Like Raider takes only half the space normal cavalry does. Only one population cost. So for me, like utilize the numbers and do as much damage as possible. That's what I want about Raider. What I want from Raider. So maximize the damage. Damage, great chance. They have also pretty good health, and if I want, I can like swap the armor for like more protection from Sargon, which I have over here. Let's move on the Horseman then. So I have Heavy Spear of Sacrifice, I have the Horse Armor of Sargon, and the Ramses. And yeah, pretty much with Fenolfer, the Legendary Advisor, the Horseman became quite popular. Like all of a sudden they take out the space, so you can have twice as many of them, which is pretty huge. Like seriously. So sometimes if I want like higher damage, I can like go with Garhasp instead of Sargon. Personally, I like it this way. So the heavy spear of sacrifice like focuses on what they are supposed to be, the anti-cavalry unit. So like damage, the bonus versus cavalry, while also being defensive against cavalry with additional armor. So for me, this is actually a pretty good spear on them. If I want to replace, then I just grab higher damage spear, which currently I don't have. So instead, I'm using the Zahak's Undying Spear instead. So yeah, Sargon, yeah, pretty much a lot of enemy defensive structures. So trying to keep the horseman alive. Like other than cavalry, you're gonna take a lot of pierce armor, and if you're fighting infantry, you don't really want to fight infantry. But if I know I'll be fighting infantry, yeah, then I just go high damage with Garhasp and like some damage speed. And Ramses obviously for the late game health and damage boost. Okay, Party Order. I have Delian Preceptor's Ramhead, Breastplate of Alexander, and Legion Enforcer's Wheels. And yeah, but basically just I don't have better Ramhead, so for me Delian Preceptor is like the best choice since you'll be attacking mainly buildings, since Party Order is your ram unit. So adding the pierce armor definitely helps. It's better than the movement speed in my opinion. And obviously the damage and bonus versus buildings just gives them a lot of damage against buildings. It does not look like it, but it's actually a lot more damage. It could be all I don't know exactly, but it could be like 90%. Is it 90%? It's like 95% actually damage increase to buildings, which is pretty huge. Then I have the breastplate of Alexandra. I just want to give them the damage with the health. Like I don't really think there's like anything better. Maybe like pure health from the Delian Archon's armor. I just like the damage, but if you want the health, yeah, then the Delian Archon is also good. And then I have Legion Enforcer, and yeah, pretty much I was thinking about like trying to use Rams And what I'm always afraid of when I want to use rams, it's like they would take so much damage and they would just die too fast. And most of the times it's true. So for me, I started using the Legion Enforcer on my rams and just try to give them as much health as possible and keep them alive for as long as possible. This actually works well if you add even the chief. So adding the chief just increases the health and basically keep the Farpure alive for as long as possible. Although they have pretty low health compared to normal battering rams, so it can be annoying on these guys. It might be better just go damage. I just think keeping them alive for as long as possible is better. And yeah, just keep them alive pretty much. Nice thing about fire builder is you can have a lot of them since they don't take that much space, which is damn nice. Like having few of these can be dangerous, and if you can keep them alive, yeah, that's really great. Okay, move on. The Loch Thrower. So I have the Blessed Throwing Arm. It's Blessed Throwing Arm, not Dionysus Blessed Throwing Arm. Then I have Tyr's Magnificent Breastplate and Delian Adept's Wheels. Okay, basically maximize the damage through the wheels, add some range through the Tyr. Now why I have Blessed Throwing Arm and not like the Dionysus Throwing Arm? Well, I was thinking about it and I feel for me Loch Thrower and also Stone Thrower are something between Panentoron and let's say Greek Ballista. So for me, like going pure or not pure, like as high range as possible is not that great since throwers don't have that huge range like Panentoron. So for me, going pure range does not feel correct, and also they have. I like to use them against units as well, so that's why I feel like the combination with Panentoron and Ballista. So with Panentoron they have slightly higher range, but with Ballista they are better used against units than just buildings. So that's why I prefer the blast throwing arm, which already gives pretty huge range. Like the difference is like 9%. So like you lose 9% range, but you double the damage bonus, and like pretty much just get the damage and do a lot of damage to the enemy units rather than focusing on the range. Since throwers don't have that much range, I feel like the range is not that great. And if you're asking about the line of sight, well, the range is not that great. Obviously, I can use watch posts instead, and I see farther than these guys can throw their logs. So for me, I like to maximize the damage so I can use them against units if necessary. And obviously, they don't have the huge range. So just yeah, pretty much just maximize the damage. You can actually get a lot of them, so why not just maximize their damage? The range difference is not gonna be that huge anyway. And yeah, I might be contradicting myself with the Tyr's Magnificent Breastplate and could be using the Alexander Breastplate instead. But I still think adding little range can be useful. Like, I mean, these guys don't have the greatest range. I think the base range is like 41. So adding the range can be useful, especially when I wanna use them against the enemy ranged units. Especially during the Saturday's demise against the goddamn elephant archers. Oh god. I don't wanna go there again. Yeah, basically, if I wanna counter ranged units like the elephant archers, the Tyr's breastplate feels better than like the higher damage. So I still wanna keep some range just in case I wanna attack the ranged units and keep the Loch Thrower safe. Okay, let's move on. Rhapsol. So I have the Staff of Amenhotep, which increases damage for a great stat and healing. Then I have Frostbane Bearskin Cloak, and 6 Demon Back. So basically, the Staff of Amenhotep. I prefer Rhapsody as the healer unit, and if I wanted the conversion, I would just train Seers. And I would say this is actually the best healing unit if we consider out of combat. In combat, that's obviously Druid and Priestess of Ra. So for out of combat, definitely the best healer. I mean, they can heal pretty much your whole army. You just get 2, you heal your whole army like nothing. So why not just increase the healing rate on these guys? The Frostbane Bearskin Cloak, I think that's just something I had and I just put it there. But I like the Pierce Armor. I like the Pierce Armor on the Priest since what's gonna probably attack your Priest most. Maybe enemy siege like catapults. Don't see them that often. So for me it's rather like the enemy ranged units, which can be annoying. So having the Pierce Armor is a nice thing. And again, like, who was it with the Skirmisher? I would prefer the sets Best Vest on these guys. Obviously for the Pierce Armor it's great. Health is even better, so it helps against everything. And some infantry armor, but that's just bonus. So for me, like, having the health Pierce Armor is like probably the best thing on Priest. And if not Pierce Armor, then Crush Armor can be also great. And 6 Demon Back. These guys have a lot of health. I checked it. They have base health of 250. 250 health base. Like, come on, that's a lot. Just give them health. Just survive. If you don't want them to be tanky, then just give them movement speed if you want. Or you can use the summer event store legendary item for the priest that gives health and movement speed, and be happy with both. Okay, let's move on. Longships. So I have Delian Adept's Bow. I have Pharaoh's Blessed Arrows, Hephaestus Scarf Plating, and Hadad's Remarkable Hull. Basically, I'm trying to maximize the range with the Delian Adept's arrows. Oh, no, not arrows, bows. So I'm going for the maximum range. Basically, it's useful when you're trying to attack like the enemy towers, so they don't reach your ships. This can be very useful. And also I don't have the Master Hunter's Bow for the upgrade, so for now it's the Delian Bow. The Pharaohs, I want to replace this obviously, and I think the best arrows would be the Commentorious Burning Arrows, I think they are called. That's the, if you've been to Loaded, then you know there are the arrows that give damage, range, and bonus versus ships, and the Commentorious is legendary version of those arrows, which give much better damage, range, and bonus versus ships. It's pretty much like Arrows of Darkness, but with much higher bonus against the ships than instead of infantry, obviously. Yeah, pretty much. I think that's the best arrows you can get on your arrow ships. I mean, seriously, what are you fighting with arrow ships? Enemy units, enemy towers. Yeah, not really. It's gonna take forever, anyways. And if you're fighting the ships, I mean, 20% damage increase against ships, just with one piece of arrows. Like, come on, come on. That's just huge. That's just huge. Like, seriously, the damage bonus. You can seriously compare it with the arrows of Actaeon. The damage you lose is like 1%. The range you lose is like 1%. But you get 20% damage against ships. I mean, what are you using your arrow ships against mainly? Ships. 20% damage increase for 1% damage against everything. 1% damage, not damage. Range. I mean, that's a good deal. That's a good deal. I want those arrows. I just don't have those yet. I have the Hephaestus. I don't even know why. I would rather change this. I want the the plating that is craftable at the, is it siege school or engineering school? Or that's the same thing actually. I think it's the engineering school that gives, I think that's called the Trifons for health and damage. That's what I would love to have. I don't think going pure damage is a good idea since I still like to use them as the transport ships. I guess I could swap it for the console platings. That would be better. And Haddad, obviously maximize the damage. Let's move on. Fire ships. So I have, oh god, that that name. Okay, or flask of hot ship suit. I have the armoring of Archimedes and Hull of the Leviathan. I mean, the firepot. This is literally the best thing you can get on your fire ships. The damage increase more than 100% against ships. What are you using your fire ships against? Ships. Maybe buildings. If you're using them against units, that's, don't do that. Don't do that. They can miss a lot. Against buildings, that's okay. But you're gonna use them mainly against ships. So this is the firepot. I think this is your choice, no matter what. You want this one. Go high damage, especially with this one. For the armoring of Archimedes, well, the main damage types your ships will be taking are Pierce and Crush. Pierce, I mean, you pretty much said, because most ships have the base Pierce armor of 0.50. If you don't know that, literally check it. Almost every ship. The only exception are the siege boats. So like ballista trident, catapult trident. So Pierce armor, I don't really care. Plus you can increase it through the armor upgrades as well. And that leaves the crush damage. I like the fire ships to be as tanky as possible, so giving them the crush armor can help against the ram ships and other fire ships. And that's what I like. I have the hull of the Leviathan, but I want to swap this for, and that's the Hanos hull, which gives only health, but that's it. It does not increase the cost, it just gives you a lot of health. I've been using it on my Greeks, and if you've watched my stream when I was playing Fire Oasis with fire ships, you could see that my fire ships were not dying that fast. They were just tanky. So you can check it there, and I I think as this video comes out, I think I'll make it public on YouTube as well. So I think it won't be anymore on Twitch, but you will find it here on YouTube. You can see it there. Just check it. You'll see that the fire ships won't die that fast, and that is great. And also no increased cost. So you just pay the base price for them. It's awesome. Just check it there. Just check it there. Okay, now I have to make it public as well. Okay, let's move on. Seers. So I have the inscribed engineer staff, the Ammonet's Vest of Foresight, and 6 Demon back again. Well, to be honest, I think if we exclude the legendary staffs for maximum range, I would say this is probably the best stuff I can think of, since it offers health instead of damage like the other stuff, the diamond stuff of Hermes, I think it's called. So yeah, pretty much range, that's just what you need. Health, keep them alive, that works. Convert siege rate, that's just bonus. For me, the health and maximum range is the most important thing about this stuff. But yeah, I think I would prefer the long range stuffs anyway. I have Amulet's Vest of Foresight. I think I just put it here, and if I remember, Seers actually get through their upgrade increased line of sight, so adding just a little bit of line of sight can be really nice. Yeah, they can all of a sudden see pretty far. But yeah, I want to replace this. Obviously, I don't want to keep this here. Again, I would prefer the sets best west for them. And 6 demon back. Obviously, I want to keep them alive, but I guess even movement speed can work. OG summer event store item. Again, yeah. I don't think I have anything else to say about Seers. Let's move on. Throwing Axeman. Yeah, I like this unit actually. This is a great unit. So I have the double-edged axe. I have Tunic of Actaeon and Ramsey's Heavy Gauntlets of the Sun. Basically trying to maximize the damage output. Yeah, so pretty much high, high damage. I think it's called Amon's Axe, which is epic axe that gives just damage. That can work as well. Just maximize the damage. And if you don't want just pure damage, you can also include like bonus versus infantry. I don't think you really need that much defense, but the Tunic of Actaeon actually helps this. Helps them since their range is not that great. They will take some damage, believe me. The AI, yeah, it's not nice when it all of a sudden attacks you from your Axeman. So have some protection on them. Yeah, I just prefer the high damage. And obviously Ramses combines both damage health. Yeah, if you don't, I think it would be better if I had like the anti-infantry axe, but I think the pure damage is good enough. I think what is like the best anti-infantry axe? I think it's the one you buy at the Epic Edges, the Epic store for weapons. I think that's like the best one I can think of right now. Let's move on. So, War Dog. I have the Zax Heavy Spear of the Undying. I have Sandskin Kitten and Greaves of the Ice King. Yeah, basically this build is built around Vamander pretty much. Just maximize the health. And yeah, I was trying it once on Marian, and you can guess it. Those ballista just messed me up. Yeah, yeah. Basically, war dogs can be really good tank units since they count as huntables, not anything else. So there are only few units that do actually bonus against huntables, and that's scouts and the druids, and that's about it. That's about it. So you can definitely use your dogs as a tank unit. They'll take less damage than any other unit because they don't take the bonus. So yeah, I definitely want to change this one. I think I would prefer the Rakotis 12 armor for pure health. Just maximize the health. You don't really need anything. Or I could also use the sets Best West. Again, I don't need the bonus age protection since almost no units doing bonus versus huntables. So sets Best West would be probably even more interesting. Plus, with the Zahak Spear to heal them, combined with the armor, can be really effective. And yeah, pretty much Greaves of the Ice King also add the movement speed, so they are even more faster, much faster than usually. So easier to replace them. I mean, they're pretty cheap, like 25 food one, so all of a sudden just 30 food. That's pretty good. Including Vemander, yeah, pretty good tanking unit. Okay, let's move on. Okay, now we have a lot of buildings. I checked this, there's a lot of buildings. So let's move on to the last one, and that is the Spearman. So, Heavy Spear of Sacrifice, just like the Horseman, Tunic of Actaeon, just like any other infantry, and Ramses. I don't think I have to say anything else. Pretty much improve them against cavalry, which pretty much that's all they are good at. Like they don't have that high damage like well, the other spearmen. Like this is damage wise, this is actually the weakest spearman. If you take a look at the other spearmen, they do more damage, much more damage. I mean, in comparison, I think I can reach easily like over 50 damage with Greek spearmen using also heavy spear of sacrifice, and with these guys, I'm like only around 40 damage. That's a huge difference. Like 20% less damage than the Greek spearmen. Yeah, so damage wise, they are not great. They have pretty good bonus, like the champion upgrade gives them bonus. But what I truly like about them is how high their health can actually go. And yeah, pretty much just doing up back down is probably the best in legendary quests, so increasing the survivability for them is really nice. And then it's pretty much just they get a lot of health, adding the chief, yeah, pretty good health. So I think you could replace this with like even different off armors and utilize the fact they have huge health, and instead of like the bonus edge protection you can use some armor instead. You could like add infantry armor and make them like early defense unit, or you could start using the summer event golf armor for the cavalry armor and just make them super tanky against cavalry, which in my opinion is not completely bad. Like that actually sounds pretty cool with me. I think that can be a great option. Ramses obviously increase the health. I think even the Greaves of the Ice King would work nicely. Just maximize. They don't have that huge damage, but still, like some damage, so they can fight the cavalry is still great. And yeah, pretty much. I think that's all. There's nothing below Spearman, so that's all my Norse gear. And yeah, like I said, I think I don't have it that great as my Greeks. Oh boy, my Greek gear actually changed a lot. I'll have to make like updated version of that video. Ugh. Like my opinions changed as well. So yeah, okay, that's all from me for now. So hope you enjoy this. If you think I should use some other gear, if you're one of those that think that pure damage acts on the berserkers is better, yeah, I heard about it. I heard that already, so don't worry about that. But if you think I should use some different piece of gear, yeah, just let me know in the comments. Hope you enjoyed this. If you did, please press the like button. If you want to see more, please subscribe to the channel if you did not already. If you haven't already, and yeah, so yeah, I'll see you next time. Bye.